My name is Rachel Eccleston and I'm an undergraduate student studying Business and HR Management at Leeds Business School, part of Leeds Beckett University. In this vlog I'm going to talk about marketing myths and my interpretation towards them. By knowing the myths of marketing enables us to dispel and truly understand what happens in marketing. In order to dismiss the myths of marketing, first of all we need to establish what marketing is. What is marketing? Marketing is about putting the customer at the heart of everything. It's not just about advertising of the product, but the research and the PR that goes hand in hand from the idea of the product to actually selling the product and everything in between. Marketing is also not just about a product, but services and charities as well. Myths. There are 6 main myths about marketing. So, first of all, marketing is just advertising, isn't it? This focuses on the idea that marketing is all about the promoting side of a product or the service, when in fact marketing is everything to do with the product and also the research on the advertising. Next one. A satisfied customer is a loyal customer. This is a blurry line that some people don't seem to believe in. With the rise of comparison websites, it's showing that increasingly people are no longer willing to be loyal, but will go out for the best deal that suits them. Strong brand is invincible. Most people think of big brands and believe that they'll be able to get away with anything, or that they'll be around forever. This is not often the case, and some big companies do sometimes come crashing down with a bang. A big brand can sustain a high price. This is basically saying that big brands are the highest priced in their field. It's not always the case when looking at discount brands and big branded names like McDonald's or Primark. They could charge more, but they choose not to be at the top end of the price scale. The customer is king or queen. As stated before, the customer should be at the heart of everything in marketing, but still big brands are missing this point and going against the customer or just not thinking about the customer at all. This is making them lose out on margins and profits. An example of this, which is shown in the core textbook, Customer Centric Marketing, is the fact that iPad doesn't have a medium on it that can run a flash, whereas any other Apple product does have this. This created a gap in the market for the competitors, and now Apple have actually lost out in their first mover advantage. Numbers of distribution channels do not influence marketing. This is the final myth out of the 6 main ones in the core textbook. People often forget about the distribution of a product or service being linked to marketing, but when a product or service is delivered to a customer in a dissatisfactory condition, this leaves an impression with the customer on the company and can actually be a reason why some customers do leave an organisation or a company. The 6 main myths, I find the most powerful myth is advertising always affects sales. This is the one that I've done the most research on, and this is the one that I'm going to go through now. Advertising always affects sales. This statement is actually correct, although the myth suggests that advertising always affects sales in a positive way, which is not the case. An example of when advertising really does affect sales can be seen with the company Nike. Nike started off with the founder Phil Knight selling sneakers in the back of his car in the 1960s. By 1988, Nike were selling shoes to elite athletes at the height of competitiveness, and this was their main target audience of their product, but executives realised that the top athletes were only containing about 1 million people, whereas as stated on the branding strategy inside a website, they knew that the fitness universe was 150 times bigger than this. With this in mind, the Nike team created the Just Do It campaign. In spring 1988, the first Just Do It commercial was launched, and from 1988 to 1998, the company went from 800 million to 9.2 billion. The campaign was a success and Nike continued to grow. Nike didn't just stop there, and now their marketing team are making new waves and taking their commercials from mediums such as cinema and television and now focus on social media. They pulled out of major contracts for the World Cup and Olympics to focus on social media side of things, as even with the largest audience of the Super Bowl with around 200 million people watching, social media can create this for them every single day. Another reason why Nike moved on from commercials to the social media aspect is due to their research team in their marketing knowing exactly who buys their products. A 17-year-old boy will spend 20% more than anyone else, and a 17-year-old boy is going to be on social media. They're very clever with their advertising placement, and this shows that advertising does affect sales in a positive way, especially when you look at the fact that after 10 years of the Just Do It campaign, Nike sales have increased by 1,000%, and in 2010 their sales reached $21 billion, putting them 30% ahead of their closest competitor being Adidas. On the flip side of this, advertising does sometimes have a bad effect on people and backfires dramatically. When searching the internet, there are some examples of this, although a lot of it does get swept under the carpet due to the big name brands or there not being that much research. So being the PlayStation, they brought out the new white PSP and they showed seemingly racist billboards across America. Obviously this backfired greatly for PlayStation, but now as it's been a couple of years ago, we can't really find much information about it. Here's a picture of the billboard that was shown in America about the PSP. One such thing that I can find quite a lot of research on is the Scottish anti-drug campaign. The campaign was called Know the Score and it was aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds living in Scotland in around 2005. The Know the Score campaign was more about giving information to 16 to 24-year-olds about drugs, predominantly cocaine, and how it can affect the heart and makes users prone to heart attacks. The campaign was from 2005 to 2006. The campaign used mainly billboards, posters and cinema trailers to get their message across to their audience. Advertising was a good positive thing, with the intended audience having more knowledge about cocaine. 73% of people asked knew they only took one dose of cocaine to have an increased chance of heart attack, compared to 59% of people who had not seen the campaign. The downside of the campaign is that when questioned about taking cocaine, how the campaign had changed their views on the Class A drug, 58% of people said that the campaign had not affected how they viewed the drug whatsoever, and 12% of people actually said that they were more likely to take the drug since seeing the campaign. This is 1 in 10 people that were surveyed. So although the knowledge about cocaine had increased, more people stated that they would take the drug since seeing the campaign, and also the amount of people who noted the website and helpline also reduced. This was portrayed on the BBC website as a massive backfire on the campaign, and I actually agree with that statement. In this case, I really do feel like advertising has been completely backfired in the way that it's gone ahead. More people are wanting to take cocaine, and more people, because they've seen the message that many times, are actually not interested in noting down their website or the telephone number. With regarding the 2 points, obviously it is seen that the majority of advertising does affect sales positively, but it's all about evolving the advertising campaign to keep it fresh to the audience. As when people see things too many times, they don't see what's in front of their face anymore, or they get irritated by seeing the same advert. When this happens, this is when campaign companies fail. In conclusion, and after researching the myths, I find that it does seem that most companies do follow the rule of thumb, whereas some do not, leading to the myths being dispelled. The most powerful to myself, as stated before, has to be about advertising, which also leads into the first myth about how people believe that marketing is all just about advertising. This is generally the customer only sees this part of the marketed product. I also like the myth that big companies are invincible, which is quite fitting when reading into the news scandal about VW of late. Also, when looking at companies like Woolworths, for example, it seems that being archaic and not looking into future seems to be the downfall, no matter how big that they are. When looking at the customer being king or queen, it seems as a myth due to companies not listening to the customer, although it is becoming more and more common for companies to have their own social media page to interact with customers, whether this be up-and-coming events or promotions, or for customers just to put across their opinions. A big brand can sustain a high price. As stated before, it's all to do with the retailer themselves and what their niche is. With McDonald's, they regularly advertise the fact that you can get a burger for 99p, which is not the top end by any means, but they're still a large brand. Loyal customers and satisfied customers are now becoming separate entities as well. More and more comparison websites crop up, and it's becoming popular between customers and people to go out there and find the correct deal and the right deal for them. We're more and more frequent with services such as insurance and utility bills. Also, by bringing distribution of a product or a service into the mix of the most important myths, it truly does show that marketing is about the whole package of a product and not just about the advertising of a product. Researching for my vlog, it does seem that most companies do conform to the norm and that the myths really are just myths, although there's always going to be companies that break the mould. Thank you for watching my take on the marketing myths, and I hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you.